The other thing I wanted to share, I want to do a little demonstration then, just to show like how this works on the mindset part of things, because our nervous system is a big key. Our mindset is another big key, because whatever we're pulling and running into our minds, we kind of run a system or run a program that's going to influence our nervous system. So I can create a feeling of unsafety, of danger by my own thoughts. So just going to the new kid scenario, new kid at school, and this might be helpful for you if you have children who are going to start a new school. You might show them this little demonstration. So I'm the new kid at the school, okay? And I can think something like, this is terrifying. I don't know anyone. I have no friends. Let's put it that way. That's a little more dramatic. I have no friends here. So when I think that thought, I'm the new kid, and that means that I don't know anyone and I have no friends. This is terrifying. That becomes the program that's running. My nervous system is going to say, danger. This is dangerous. I'm too vulnerable. I'm just like a target for anything to happen because I can't defend myself. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what the boundaries are. I don't know what the limits are, the routine and all this stuff. And so, yeah, your nervous system can feel totally triggered. So, when I think this is terrifying, I have no friends, I personally tend to go into flight mode where I get really anxious and I get hypervigilant. Hypervigilance is a great way of describing when you're triggered and you're just watching for something to go wrong, just watching to be the one who trips and drops their food, or just watching and expecting someone's going to make fun of you or say, no, you can't sit here, or something like that. Someone gives you the wrong information, so then you do the wrong thing. Um, and that's where anxiety is. Anxiety resides in that fear of the worst case scenario and not trusting yourself to be able to handle it and just get up and brush yourself off and keep going. There's a lack of self trust with anxiety. So this is terrifying. I have no friends here. Then, yeah, there's the lack of self trust. So if an emotion can be a lack of something, that's what I'm going to share this way. There's a lack of self-trust, because I really want to emphasize that. And the opposite of what you would be experiencing then would be self-doubt. But I want to highlight the self-trust issue, that there's a lack of that. And that's what makes building connection with others, making closeness a possibility. It really sabotages that. So self-doubt and anxiety, oh man, I felt so much anxiety on those first days. And so then how am I going to behave if I'm operating out of this? This is terrifying. I have no friends here, and my nervous system is triggered, and I'm in flight mode. I'm feeling self-doubt and anxiety in my body because of my thinking and my nervous system. Then I'm likely to not try to talk to people. Right? I'm going to stay reserved. Keep to myself. Okay, so then what would the result be? In the terms of building connection and closeness, am I going to build any connection or closeness with anybody when I'm keeping to myself and I'm kind of operating out of this? No connection, right? No new friends. So if you share this with your kids, help them to see if the result is that you want new friends, you want to feel comfortable, you want to feel like you fit in and you have a place, you can't stay here I have no friends. This is terrifying. Everything's going to go wrong. If you stay here, you're going to stay with this result. So, kids who might be listening, you get to have the power of change. You are the catalyst for you to have change. If you want a different result, you want to feel different, you want to have a different result, you want to behave differently, you've got to look at your thoughts and your nervous system. How is it guiding you? How is it influencing the way that you interact with other people? Okay? Because this is magic. I always feel like this is magic, and I love telling kids, this is magic. I'm a life coach for kids. I'm certified through the Adventures in Wisdom program. And so I love telling kids how much power they actually have in changing their life. Completely change your experience by taking ownership and taking responsibility for your actions. But you can't really take responsibility for your actions unless you are fueled by an empowering emotion and an empowering thought. And calm your nervous system down. Help yourself feel that self-trust. Self-trust is a huge part of calming down the nervous system from the sympathetic and relaxing it back into parasympathetic, where you are going to rest and digest. Your thinking and reasoning part of your brain will be back on. So kids, listen to this carefully. If you're feeling really bad about not having friends, you don't have friends, okay, that is painful. You need friends. It's really important to have these connections. It's really important for your well-being. All of you, all the parts of you really benefit from good friendships and people who are going to support you and encourage you. You don't want just any friend. You want friends who are going to support you and encourage you to be your best self. We don't want friends who are handing us drugs and alcohol. Kids, those are not your friends. What you want is a friend who's going to encourage you to be your best self, to have the best future possible, and encouraging you to do well in school. And hey, let's do well together. Let's go try out for basketball teams together. Let's start a club and invite everyone and include. That's the kind of friend you want to have, and that's the kind of friend you can be. So let's see how to do that. Okay, so I'm the new kid. Scenario or the circumstance does not need to change for you to have a different experience in your life. Circumstance can stay completely the same. Being the new kid, I'm the new kid. And you can, instead of saying, I'm terrified, this is terrifying, this is like, what if I do the wrong things? You can choose a new thought. And it's hard sometimes to come up with that thought right away. So if we want to start backwards, we can start here. What's the result that I really want? I want to have friends. Okay? I want to make friends, make new friends. I don't want to be alone. I want to have connection and closeness. I want to feel close to people, that they're someone I can talk to and share and laugh with and cry with and feel close to. Okay, feel close to them. Have that vulnerability, authenticity. That's what we want. We don't need to have a big wall around us all the time. And authenticity. Okay, so kids, if this is what you want when you go to school this fall, you want to make new friends, feel close to others. What are you going to have to do to make that happen? Sometimes you might have someone who's like, hey, come sit with me. And I had that experience. So I remember coming back to the States in 8th grade. We were coming back to an area that we'd lived in before. So I did have a friend at school, had one friend. And she was so kind. She invited me to join her group and to sit with them and come to their hangouts and the parties and things at their birthday parties and their fun things. So that was wonderful to have that. But I didn't always have that every school I went to. I had to do something myself. I had to be proactive. So if I want friends, what am I going to do? And maybe even this feels hard to figure out. Okay, so let's come back to this. how do I want to feel? How do I think that I need to feel inside of me in order to go up to someone and introduce myself? Or invite them to sit with me so that we can kind of get to know each other. We're both new. We can tell we're both lost. What am I going to do? How do I need to feel? So it might be that you feel compassion. Like that one time with the Brazilian student, I realized she was also new. I felt compassion for her. I felt empathy. Okay? So compassion. Think about every person in that lunchroom has some feelings of insecurity. Every one of them. I can have compassion for every student in this room. I don't need to look at them as an enemy. They're not my enemy. They're just unknown right now. And my brain is trying to say that's a threat because I don't know if I can trust them or not. But I can train my brain and my nervous system to not treat others who are like strangers or where they're unfamiliar and just automatically make them an enemy. I don't have to do that. I can train myself not to do that. So compassion, I have empathy. This person might be feeling lonely too. Maybe they had a horrible summer, maybe some really hard things happened. And so when I approach people with compassion and empathy, I'm so much more open to allowing them in, giving them a chance, letting my instinct be a little more open for that person. I can also become creative. Okay, so I want to make new friends. How can I do it? That's a creativity sparking, generating kind of question. How can I do it? Okay, so let's go up to thought. How can I make friends? How can I make this a good experience? How can I make this new school a good experience? Okay, so these are questions that I can ask myself that generate curiosity and creativity. Let's do curious. Okay, and as I think, I want to make friends, my goal is to make friends, how can I do that? Then your brain starts to look for opportunities. Your reticular activated system is going to start looking around the room for people who look safe to you, that are just instinctively like, oh, that person reminds me of my friend at my old school. Maybe she'll also be nice to me. That guy's pretty funny. Maybe he's a welcoming kind of person. You're going to start to look for the good and look for the good possibilities in people. And so when you're curious and looking, how's this going to be good? Instead of how's this going to be bad? How's this going to go wrong? How am I going to make a fool of myself and get rejected? I don't want to feel rejection. So instead, turning it into, how can I make this good? How can I make this a fun experience? How can I make this positive and adjust into it and grow into this new situation? So then your action line will be, when you're thinking, how can I make friends? And how can I make this a good experience? And you're looking for the good in others, right? Look for common interests. That's a good place to start. That's fine. And then you branch out and you find people that you have a lot of different interests, but have like a common, just a good feeling around each other. You just like each other. You can laugh. You can talk about things. You don't always have to have a lot of common interests. But that's a really good way to start. So then you might find yourself inviting others to sit with you or asking if you can sit with them. To sit together or share materials or something. You'll maybe, let's see, you'll ask questions. Ask them, get to know them questions. Ask questions. And, you might say, I don't know where the nurse's room is and I need to get something, I don't know, you just start to feel okay asking and showing that you don't know the layout, you don't know the routine, and it's okay. You're comfortable with that. You're okay asking questions. And that really's got to start with you feeling safe in your body, creating that feeling of safety. And it's totally connected. These are so connected. Your thinking, your nervous system state, so connected. Your emotional experience is a result of that. So, my friends, so kids who might watch this, or parents who want to help coach their child for a new school year, help your child look at what is the final result. What is the result they want to have? If they're just trying to avoid making a fool of themselves, that might not be the best reason to operate. It, like, really, if they want to feel confident in themselves, they want to build that self-trust, they want to build friendships with people because it just feels good. I like having friends. That's a good reason. That's a better reason than I don't want to make a fool of myself, or I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be an outcast. I do want to be close. I do want to have friendship. Then you're going to look for the right kind of kids too to be around. And ones that aren't going to be causing trouble, wanting to do deviant behaviors. So, but this is the magic of it. Calming your nervous system, changing your thinking, like that works together, and then you create everything else. So I hope you enjoyed this little demonstration of the thought cycle diagram. But that's one way that you can help kids, especially when they're kind of adjusting into a new school year, building connection, creating closeness.